Hello, in this video we will prepare the components for the mounting on the quadcopter. I start with the flight controller and I start tinning the contacts where the power leads and the power for the ESCs will be connected. So we are talking about this pin, these two, and on the other side these two and these two. I will probably not tin these small connectors for the peripherals. So let's start. We prepare the flight controller to the clamp. Preheat the solder, clean the tip, and slowly start tinning the pins. I'm using here 6040 solder with resin core. We need to be careful here because of the gyro connector. We don't want to damage it by the heat from the solder. The solder on the pad should be nice and shiny with a conical shape. I also tint the bottom side of the power connector because I will probably be connecting the low ESR capacitor here. The temperature of my solder iron is about 320 degrees Celsius. Once we finish tinning the flight controller, we will go on with all 4 ESCs. We will tin it the same way. I am going to mount the ESCs MOSFETs side up for better heat dissipation from the MOSFETs. So I am tinning the MOSFET side. When you clamping the component, always check if there are some components what can get possibly damaged by the clamp. So I will clamp it here, this way, because on the other side there are no components. The ESC will be mounted on the quadcopter's arms, so we need to measure the length of the power wires to the ESC. We will working approximately, and we'll be adding some slack to the wire. We need four reds and 4 blacks with the same length. Once we have a wire cut and de-isolated, I always twist the end of the wire to prevent the copper hairs sticking out from the wire, and we will need to tin the wire. And this is my procedure how I do this task. I put some solder on the tip, take the wire, put it into rosin and tin it. Very fast, very easy. Nice solder flow to the wire, thanks to the rosin. It's good to work quickly, because once the solder starts to soak into the wire, up and up, the wire won't be so flexible. Now we attach the wires to the ESC. Red to the plus pad and black to the ground pad. Always double check if you are connecting correct wire to the correct pad to prevent the possible problems in the future. I need to a little bit increase the temperature of my soldering iron. Now I am on 350 degrees of Celsius. It's good when the wire is touching the pad directly. So I'm using a little bit of force and touching to the wire to stick it to the pad. The signal wire I will connect in the next run. For the soldering the wires, I'm using two clamps holding the ESC, because as I said, I'm touching and I'm using the force to stick the wire to the pad. So I want to I want a stronger holding of the ESC in the clamp. Clean the tip. I put some new solder on the tip. Preheat the wire. Touch the ESC gently. Push. Also important is not to move with the wire when you are taking the soldering iron out. When you start wiggling with the wire and the solder is not completely cooled, you can make a cold joint very easily. Also try to heat the ESC for as shortest time as possible, because these ESCs are designed for big currents, so there is a lot of copper inside, and the copper will dissipate the heat into the ESC. And when you heating the joint for a long time, you can damage the components because the heat is dissipating through the copper layers and could damage components nearby. Again, clean the tip. Thin the tip. I'm also blowing to the joint to speed up the cooling of the solder. So now we have all ESCs wired for the power. Next time I will connect the signal wires, telemetry wires to the ESC. I will mount the ESCs to the arms and connect the ESCs to the flight controller. So I hope you enjoyed this video and see you next time.